It's great to have such a strong car coming.
I would say it's electrifying.
Game changer. It's a massive, massive step forwards on.
It's going to be making everything even more exciting.
The ABB FIA Formula E World Championship has always pioneered electric vehicle technology. So for example, with Gen 1, the drivers had to use 2 cars to complete a race because we were really pushing the limits of EV range. But then Gen 2 came along and the same race distance was achieved, but just with the 1 car. So you can see there's progress over the years. Then comes Gen 3 and Gen 3 Evo. So this was interesting because it introduced new technologies to allow such things as ultra-fast charging during a race. Lots of steps up in performance. So you cannot deny that Formula E has always pushed the boundaries.
It's only 12 years, so it's incredible how Formula E has been alongside the evolution of the electric vehicles.
I think that all the team can be particularly proud of this moment. We reached the long-term commitment of the different stakeholders, of course, first of all with our partners Formula E in promoting this championship, but also with the manufacturers. Many of them are with us since the first year of Formula E, as well as from the competitors and fans.
And so we bring you Gen 4, and the car we are launching really turns the dial up to 11.
Collaboration is key. We work with our stakeholders in order to make the car more powerful, more performing.
Okay, so here's the thing. When the FIA tech team sat down to scope out Gen 4, lots of strong voices in the room, but they were all agreed on one thing. They absolutely had to have the fastest and the most exciting Formula E car ever. Power, not a problem.
So we have 600 kilowatts, so it's a bit more than 800 horsepower for the quali lap and some specific scenario we'll have during the event. And we have up to 700 kilowatt in regen, so in braking, so on the top of obviously hydraulic brake. So this is first part. As said, permanent 4-wheel drive, which is first time a single seater do have a permanent 4-wheel drive.
We're going to be able to manage the 2 differentials independently, and this, for the more technical ones, it's a big, big thing.
Hang on a minute though, because when you innovate, you meet other challenges. When you make cars faster and more powerful, you have to upgrade the cooling package to manage all of that power, and crucially, energy regeneration. It's a big part of Formula E, and it's a big step up in the Gen 4 as well, the capacity of 700 kilowatts.
Main decision, main driver was really to showcase performance what electrical vehicle can do. So we try to, thanks to the battery technology, to improve really the global power. Other big element which is difficult to put in number, but we completely open what we call the control systems, which mean all the electronic and software control of the car. So manufacturers do have the full capability to work on braking optimization, cornering optimization with diff control, torque control and so on, which is again something which happens in mass production car.
So pace is an absolute given. This new generation of cars will be seriously quick, and it's up to the manufacturers and teams to extract every ounce of performance. But the FIA is making other changes the manufacturers will really care about beyond the racetrack, and you can sum that up in 3 words: increased road relevance. Up until now in Formula E, the manufacturers have only been able to develop the rear powertrain and how efficient it is. But from Gen 4 onwards, that is changing, along with all-wheel drive, which you can see more regularly now on most electric road cars. The manufacturers are being given more freedom to implement their own in-house technologies on things like electronic control systems. And actually, hang on a sec, we've got the car here. Why don't we just do the next bit in the car? We're talking traction control, brake-by-wire systems, torque distribution. These are all exciting new frontiers for the manufacturers involved. So whilst they're battling it out on and off track, there is a direct benefit for you on the road: greater performance and greater efficiency in the next car you drive.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that are important for Jaguar. Ultimately, we're here to promote the brand. It's as simple as that. And therefore, there needs to be that link between what we're doing on track and the direction the brand's taking as well. And those are on a couple of different levels. One, again, is the technology that we're deploying here and what we can learn from that then in our road car product development as well. And then secondly, just Formula E, the audience that we're reaching at the moment, how that resonates with the brand, I think that's incredibly important.
More freedom, more innovation, and all of it means a more sustainable future for the championship and for the automotive world. Now, the FIA oversees many diverse championships, and sustainability has always been at its core for a long, long time. And look, there are many different ways to try and make motorsport more sustainable. And in fact, whilst we're talking about it, the wider mobility landscape too. Here are some examples from across the FIA's World Championships. So Formula One has hybrid solutions, same as the World Endurance Championship, while the World Rally Championship has fully sustainable fuel. For Formula E, it's wonderfully simple. It is purely electric.
Formula E has really been created to embed sustainability in its core mission, and Gen4 is the perfect example of that. All the parts that you can see on this car are really made of 20% recycled materials. Another highlight is around the tires, so 65% are made of renewable and recycled materials, which is really high, probably higher than what we'll get in our everyday cars. And finally, the fact that the battery has no rare earth minerals.
From mandating these technologies by regulation to working increasingly closely with championship promoters to rationalise our calendars to try and make travel between events more sustainable, the FIA is constantly striving to lead the way for sustainable innovation. The Gen4 isn't just better for the future of the planet, it's also safer for its drivers.
One thing, obviously, going with performance, we have bigger tire, much more grippy tire. So the load on steering wheel, this car is heavier because obviously more power, more energy. So we had to adapt, and the first thing was to have a power steering. And as well, the other car was bigger overall for performance reason. We try to give more comfort inside the cockpit to the driver, so the clearance was improved.
If you look at the changes which have been done in the past 20-25 years in our sport are insane. I think the FIA is doing an amazing job.
We improve step by step, and the Gen4 has a massive anti-intrusion panel. It is some weight, but it is safe.
The FIA is not only producing and designing rules to give us a more efficient, faster, better looking car, but also the safety element is a big one for us.
It's an extensive list of safety improvements in Gen4, and as these cars are going to be faster than any electric race car ever, the protection for the drivers is stepping up to meet that challenge. Formula E has always been this close quarters, tough racing format, but don't you worry, that DNA is going nowhere in Gen4.
We can expect speed, we can expect close racing, and something new for Formula E.
People should appreciate now how quick electrical car could be, and this is the main message.
Pack races, full of overtakes.
I really want to drive it.
So, the Gen4 car has just been unleashed. For the FIA and Formula E, their focus shifts from innovation to regulation, and it's now over to the manufacturers and teams to bring this next chapter of electric racing to life.